So first off, I would like to start with the question of who are you?
Okay. Well, I'm Amber Harris. I am, how old am I? 17. That's crazy. And I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm Angela Batiata. I'm 17. I'm a senior here at Tabor, and I'm from Lawrence, Massachusetts.
I'm Estella. I'm a senior and 18, and I'm from Garrison, New York.
Got it. Okay, so how do you guys remember first feeling when you stepped on campus?
Well, I wasn't that terrible because I remember seeing you in the parking lot and your big poofy hair, and I was like, oh my god, that's the girl that followed me on Instagram. So I'm like, okay, I know one person now, that's cool. And then bam, my roommate was Aaliyah, got that figured out. She was half Puerto Rican, half black. I was like, okay, this is nice. I didn't have like a random, like, I guess like it's gonna sound mean, but like a random white person, like somebody who I had no like connection with so far. So far it was pretty good.
Well, for the 2 hours that I was on campus before I was shipped off to Great Wolf Lodge,
I'm done.
I was one of 3 black girls in my grade, and I didn't even see the other 2 till like 2 weeks later. Me, Mia, Jordan. I was the only Native American. I just really I was like, wow, like I really did this. I really got myself into this situation, and I was really just confused. I didn't really think I had much in common with my roommate, who like we ended up being like not close, but like friendly towards each other. But I didn't really like have her as a close friend. So I guess the first week was very awkward. I was just like, I'm gonna talk to Miss J, and that is it.
When I arrived on campus, I remember being like really excited to meet everyone, and I had an international student that was a roommate, and I didn't mind that at all. It was just a little different because obviously not used to living with someone who's not from here, but
So when you first got onto campus, who did you gravitate towards?
Like a teacher, friend group.
Who did you gravitate towards?
Well, obviously my roommate, and then her friends, which were all other people of color, and I guess that's it. And then I'm pretty friendly too, so everybody in my dorm were like a lot from different races. So there were a couple international students in my dorm and a couple white girls. So like I just got along with them.
I immediately gravitated towards Mia, who was another girl in my grade, and then obviously like you were in my dorm.
Long live
Nash was in my dorm, so like I gravitated to you guys and your friend, like already established friend group, and then also I do not know how I met her. Nina Sasakawa will forever be imprinted in my life. I have no clue how I met her. I just know, like, by the time her birthday came around, which is September 23rd, we were, like, the closest friends. So
cute.
But we have no clue how we met.
I gravitated towards, like, people that I'd been talking to before coming to Tabor, like Grace Palazzi, but then we weren't, like, friends after the first week of school freshman year. And, like, I tried to meet people at Great Wolf Lodge, but I remember, like, the first day of JV soccer practice, I saw Jordan, and the first thing I said to her, like, freshman Estella, you know how she was. I was like, oh my god, are you mixed? Because I never really met someone who was mixed that wasn't in my family. That's the first thing I ever said to her. Now, like, we're still so close, but it's just a funny story.
Okay, so what forms of support were you told were available to you when you first came here?
Nobody directly told me, like, hey, here's this person you could talk to. Here's, like, this guideline in case you're ever in trouble. But since Miss Walker Johnson, please come back. If you're watching this. If you're watching this. But, yeah, she was the person who interviewed me when I came to Tabor. So I already had, like,
Me
a
too.
close connection with her. Like,
Same.
as soon as I saw her in her office, I was like, you're the lady I'm going to talk to. And also, Ms. Bride was the first person I met when I, like, arrived at Tabor to, like, give tours. And when I found out she was my dorm parent, I was like, hallelujah. I know 2 people on campus who I already trust. So it was really nice.
Definitely.
Oh, my advisor.
Ms. J, she was from Atlanta. She was a person of color, a female of color. So immediately that was my support system. And just like coming here, nobody warned me of how uncomfortable I would feel at first.
You know, I was warned, but they didn't quite really warn me to the greatest capacity that I should have been warned.
Yeah, at least you got a warning. Me coming from huge school in the middle of downtown Atlanta filled with black kids, little private New England was the last place I thought I'd end up.
Little Marion Village.
Like, Marion
Town of
Center.
Marion.
Here I am. So really Miss J was my only support system for a very long time until I finally got close with Mel B. And then Dan Petroselli.
Yeah. I applied to Tabor like on a whim, so I didn't know anything about school before I applied.
Me
I
too.
just had the water. And
Me
The
too.
water.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just like,
water.
only thing I'm a Pisces, I'll do great. But like I remember talking to Miss McCain the first time on the phone, so I like just assumed that since she was my advisor, I'd just go to her for everything. So her, and then I pestered Jordan a lot, but that's not like Tabor told me about. Like, I knew that we were gonna have an advisor, but that's pretty much it.
Oh,
And then like
sorry. And sales. My sale was Anna L. She was here today. But yeah.
Yeah, my sale, Nashta Noel.
Nash was your sale.
Myself, Mackenzie Page.
Macaca.
my sale never talked to me.
Who was your Actually, no, don't say the name. Don't say the name. Okay, next question. How did you, if you ever, found your people? Silence.
Like, I had a really rough freshman year, and then sophomore year, like, Jordan moved in the dorm, so she was, like, my person that I would go to for everything, and, her, and then junior year I moved to Bush, and I just got really close with those girls, just because our personalities meshed, and we just had fun together, so it took me a while to find my people here, which is difficult, like, was really difficult on me, especially at that age.
Freshman year, like, with Aaliyah being my roommate, and like our friend group was established, but then next year, sophomore year, Shemi came in, and I met Sakita Adams. So yeah, then I like gravitated towards her, and then also that year Andrea came in, and then that's when I got to know Yasmin more personally because she was always with the other kids, Alana, Karina, Kelsey. Calling you.
They're not
like,
Secret project committee.
But yeah, sophomore year was when I really like found like the whole group of people that I was able to interact with and connect.
Freshman year, I feel like I didn't really have a lot of friends who were my age. Like, I knew you guys, but like I wasn't close to you guys. Like, we talked every now and then, but like we didn't like hang out 24/7. I feel like I spent most of my time with either Nina or Leo, and Trinity and all of them graduated, and so it was just Nina and I riding solo. But it wasn't until about the middle of the beginning of sophomore year where like my dorm, Hitchcock, we like kind of established ourselves as a big friend group. So
Okay, so who did you feel like did you ever feel like you had to compromise who you were in order to make friends or fit in?
I would.
Ladies first.
Oh my god. I wouldn't say like in order to make friends I had to compromise myself, because if you can't handle all of me, you just can't handle none of me.
Period.
But definitely, like, I wouldn't say I tried to fit in, but just having to be able to go to this school, I already have a stigma set for myself, even though, like, that's just not who I am. But you can't control what other people think. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely always had to watch what I said, or watch my facial expressions, or don't talk too loud, or 3 Black people are a crowd. Just little things of having to know that no matter what you do, you're always being called out. Like, you're always standing out to some extent. Like, you never blend in, or like you never can just be Amber. Like, it's always Amber then some, Amber then like someone else's opinion, Amber then like, and then
the loud Black girl.
Yeah, just like this school is tiny. Word travels like a wildfire. So even if I didn't do anything, someone is going to make up something that I did. So I guess I just had to learn how to deal with it.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Did you ever feel like you had to compromise who you were in order to make friends or fit in?
I just remember being in 8th grade, like looking at the catalogs and being like, oh, all these preppy things. And then I went and bought like a bunch of J. Crew, and I look at the clothes and I'm like, that's not who I am. And like, I don't know. It's not, Tabor isn't that preppy anymore, but like.
That's an interesting observation.
Facts, I didn't notice
Yeah,
that.
it has changed.
It's really not as preppy as it used to be.
Like, everyone's urban for people, whereas it used to be all vineyard vines and like woolly bolts.
That's nice. Wow, you learn something new every day.
It's always the senior class
grade.
Yeah, changed it.
Yeah, as we should. Continue.
So like I compromised. I mean, I didn't really compromise. I just did that to fit in and bought a bunch of clothes that I really didn't like. And then like, I don't know, I am very energetic and like kind of crazy. So people didn't really see that as positive. So like, I've obviously matured and dialed down now, but that's like my freshman year. I just remember being the like crazy energetic Stella, you know how it was.
For me, I never felt like I really had to change. I feel like the friends I made at Tabor, I didn't really have to put like this whole facade on. And overall, I'm like a very friendly person. Like, I'm very open-minded. So every time I interacted with people, like had to make sure like I knew like we came from different backgrounds, different cultures. So anything they said like that was out of hand, I was like, okay, this is not like. I was like, let me not take this too seriously, and I just moved on with my day.
All right. Can you speak on your relationship with the other girls of color at the school?
I feel like I'm close with some of them, and then I'm like acquaintances with the other. Like,
do you think there's a reason for that?
Wait, clarifying question. When we speak of girls of color, we are including Asian domestic students, Asian international students?
No, I'm talking about brown and Black girls of color.
Okay, thank you. I think just the reason for that is, I guess, because like you guys hang out together, and if I I knew Yasmin from the dorm and Andrea from the dorm, and if you guys hang out with each other, like I obviously would end up knowing you guys. But say like Estella doesn't hang out with you guys as much. I didn't really know Estella until like we were like forced together. Like I think we met musical.
Yeah.
So like it's not that like, oh, like I don't like you or anything. It's just that like we just
never
crossed paths.
Got you.
I know, like Miss J's office. That's where for the first 2 years of like my Tabor experience, that's where I sort of gravitated to like make friends with like all the other people of color on campus. And then this year, I feel like I have really disconnected myself with getting to know other girls of color.
There's also
so the new incoming freshman class and sophomore class, like other than the people, the one girl of color in my dorm or two that I got to know, but other than that, I feel like it was just a very strained relationship that I like nobody was making an effort, and it was just very weird for a very awkward period of time. And but now I feel like I've gotten to know the girls, and I could say hi to them in the hallway, but not all of them, because we still like you guys said, haven't crossed paths. But yeah, kind of blame that not only on myself but Tabor for not having
the lack of a space.
Yeah, a space for everybody to get together like how it used to be when I first came. That's what I really loved about Tabor, that there was a space for students of color to come and get to know each other, hang out, and then just vibe.
Interjection. What do you think the lack of this space to hang out and feel safe in has done, whether detrimental or beneficial to our community?
I think Tabor in general doesn't want students to sit down. Have you noticed that they take all the chairs away and everywhere that you can sit on campus away? So I just feel like it creates a lack of connection throughout the students, because if you can't hang out with your friends anywhere other than your common room, then you're comfortably. I don't want to go sit with my friends in the BB. I hate So it just creates a divide in the community if you can't be sitting with someone somewhere that isn't a common room.
Yeah,
it's
if the only comfortable space is your dorm, is your room,
you're
not gonna leave it.
That's why people don't leave their rooms, because there's nowhere to
leave. That's a good point. Okay, have you had any experience where white people have vouched for you, stood up for you, made you feel validated your experience, etc., etc.?
Thinking back, I don't think I've ever experienced anything too drastic in the classroom or outside. I
have one. Wow.
For me?
No.
Oh,
it happened to me this year the first time.
Oh.
Somebody called me the wrong name. It's the 10th time somebody called me Jasmine in this class. And Lauren Dewicki was it's actually Yasmin. Because when I do it, I'm rude and aggressive. But she had to chime in to let people know what my name was. I was highly appreciative of that.
I can't say that a white student has ever helped me in a situation, but my freshman year, I was reciting a poem. Obviously, it had to do with segregation. And I was told to stay in the kitchen. And immediately, my English teacher, shout out to Miss Moore, we don't get along all the time, but I love her for this. She immediately yelled at that person and was like, have you lost your mind? Why did you think that was okay? And ever since then, I was like, I can't talk bad about her. She stood up for me when I was an itty bitty freshman. And then also, I got a lot of experiences. This year, Miss Bride and Dan Petroselli have stood up for me. I had a hard time in a certain math class, and I was basically multiple pens were thrown at me, and the teacher said nothing about it.
What?
Pens, markers chucked across the room.
That is
thrown at me.
Oh no.
And the teacher, I finally yell at this person who threw the pens at me, because this person has been annoying the entire class all year. And fortunately, I was gone for the first half of the year. But the teacher decides to yell at me for yelling at the student instead of yelling at the student for endangering my life. And so I unfortunately spoke out towards him in that moment while I was blurred by rage. And the next class, I missed the next class, but the class after that, this teacher decided to use my words the entire class, did not teach anything, was just I need to learn how to like poking like what I said and just repeating it over and over, and then not letting
your words.
Yeah, and then not letting me go to the bathroom, not letting me talk to anybody.
Oh my God, we'll talk about this.
Just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Miss Bry and Dan Petroselli were like,
your heroes.
What? Like they were ready to fight for me, and I appreciate that.
They should. Next and last question. Not the last question. Do you notice a difference between the way the boys of color on campus get treated and the way the girls of color on campus get treated?
Yes.
This is
It's
long
a food chain
story.
So infuriating because, like, in American society, we all know that women of color are at the bottom,
Bottom of the food
And
chain.
it's not fair.
What's that quote?
Even the boy, like the boys.
Oh,
of color,
black women are the most disrespected women.
Yeah.
Okay,
and it's
continue.
not fair. Like the boys of color are like put on a pedestal by like because of their athletic abilities.
Yes,
and
Estella.
like people liking them because of their skin tone, and then just eating that all up. Like,
Yes.
and I'm just sitting here like, okay, like no one sees me.
Last time I checked, I'm black too.
Yeah. So it's really frustrating.
Oh my God. It's more so, I don't know, the divide between women of color and men of color here at campus is just not the fact that like we don't get along not like that, but it's just that when it comes to like meetings and like important events, like when we had our first idea meeting, like there were more white students who attended that meeting, which I was so grateful for, than the students of color.
Shout out to you, everybody that came.
Yeah. And all those other like topics and like discussions that we've been having, like they just don't care, like they just dismiss them. Like everything that's happening on campus affects you, but because you're a man of color and you're light skinned and you play a sports and you're on the varsity team and all this stuff, you just get protected. It's
also frustrating because I advocate for like men of color, like
Mm-hmm.
when
All
we were
the time.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
talking about police brutality and like all this stuff in classes, and I'm like, that's couldn't be my brother. Like, you have to take like
Into consideration.
Yeah, take that into consideration. I know that these boys of color are not saying the same thing about me.
I
It's
just
so sad.
If I studied abroad in China for the first half of the year, if I can FaceTime with a 12-hour difference into your meetings that you just had to walk 5 minutes
You can
to.
make it. You can make it. Thank you, Amber.
It is not that hard.
You can make it. You can make it.
Also, I also want to notice, like, yes, there's a divide between females of color on campus versus males of color on campus, but even, like, inside the males of color campus, the athletes versus the non-athletes, or, like, they're athletes because Tabor forces us to be athletes, but, like, the non-varsity athletes.
Yeah, the people who aren't recruits.
Yeah, like, the varsity kids get placed on a pedestal. And I feel like if you have that much power in this school,
why don't you use it?
like, don't just sit in your room making beats.
Okay, I'm gonna have to edit that out. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber, for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Lastly, if there's one thing that you would like to change about your experience as a woman of color on this campus, how you've experienced Tabor, just how you go about your life to change, etc., what would that change be?
I'll go first.
Okay, I'll go second.
Like, I thank God that I crossed paths with Miss Walker Johnson and Miss Bride. Yes, like, thank you so much to those beautiful ladies who have helped me out throughout my whole entire, Miss J, half of my journey, 3/4, whatever, but to Miss Bride, out of my journey. But I always wish that, I know, like, they're always there to support me, but, like, I never had a staff member or faculty, like, I could really connect to. Like, I love Miss Bride, Miss J, and my advisor, but, like, just the lack of, like, having a Hispanic person, like, even a lady or a man, just anybody I could truly relate to would have been really great. Just somebody I could connect to. Other than that, oh well.
Sometimes, like, I just wish I was more, like, appreciated more, I guess, because sometimes I mean, I am underappreciated at this school, but sometimes I think it's, like, because of my skin tone, which is really sad, because it shouldn't be. That makes sense.
I just would like to point out one thing. If I hear the word aggressive one more time.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
about to ban
people like
that
to
word.
That is a microaggression.
That is a microaggression.
I deemed it. It's
Literally,
a microaggression.
We're calling it right now. Calling people aggressive is a microaggression. Period.
Like,
I'm done. That's it. We're writing that into the Black
That's
Handbook, and that's it. Like that's that on that.
Tabor was the first place where like I heard like if I said like something like oh just like even I'd be
like just
to
laughing with each other
and joking. They're like oh wow that's so aggressive. I was like.
Yeah.
Like, was it talking to you?
Or even if you're talking to them and you're not even like you're just talking. Oh, that was aggressive. Okay,
that's a whole different thing.
So that's a new microaggression. You heard it here first. Thank you for coming to my Tabor talk. Oh shoot! Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Peace out. One love. All right.